Hello, everybody, and literature lovers. Welcome to IT classes. As you all know that covering English literature is not a cup of tea, and that's why I try to give you first lecture. Few weeks ago I tried to give you, and after that I'm bringing today's second lecture, which is going to be the summary of Unit Second and Unit Third. As you all know that Unit 2nd and Unit 3rd belongs to poets and dramatists respectively. And in these two units, all the important writers of British literature are given in our syllabus. And it is also not a very easy task to bring one question from each writer. Okay, so as you all know that covering English literature and covering important writers is, you know, it really not a cup of tea, not an easy task. So that's why I try to impart few things which I could impart and which I could give you in the very short lecture. And first of all, I'll be starting with for some important questions from each writer, and will detailed explanation I'll give you. Okay. So first question we have is from William Shakespeare, and the question is that which Shakespearean sonnet addresses this theme of love's permanence against time. Now you will say, sir, what's the meaning of this? It means that which is a Shakespearean sonnet which focuses on the time and love, which is clearly, clarifying that love cannot be changed according to the time. Okay, for example, after 2 or 3 years you meet somebody, which you met earlier 4 to 5 years ago, and it's been the distance been 8 years. But after 8 years, when you meet somebody now, so that moment of love again gets recalled in your mind, gets recalled in your heart as well. Okay, so which sonnet is the name of the sonnet is 11. So sonnet is 116. Okay, and the sonnet I think starts with Lamina to the marriage of two minds, somehow like that. Or sonnet actually discusses the permanence of love, but the changes of time is there, but permanence of love is always there. It means time changes, but love doesn't change ever. Love remains love. Okay. Additionally, let me tell you, Shakespeare was born in 1564 and was died in 1616. What else do you want to know? How many, Shakespeare, how many works are important for us? As of now, other works are important because our syllabus hasn't, clarified that which work is important. But if you review the syllabus of UGC NET or UPSC English Literature as means or KS English Literature as means, it seems that Tempest, okay, and all these important works, for example, let me recall them. Tempest is there, Love for Love is there, Absalom and Actophiles, all important, plays are important, which you have to cover for your exam. Okay, after that, from the sonnets, from the poems, if I talk about Venus and Adonis, Venice and Venus and Adonis. After that, I have Rape of Lucrece, the Rape of Lucrece, and there is another work, the Rape of Locke. Who has written it? Please let me know in the comment section as of now. Okay, while I'm discussing this video. Okay, after that, the moment in which Shakespeare has written, the time, if I talk about the time, the timeline according to the English literature was English Renaissance or Elizabethan poetry. Okay, okay, leave now. Second is, let me erase it. Which virtue does the Red Cross Knight embody in the Fairy Queen? Fairy Queen, which virtue does the Red Cross Knight? Red Cross Knight, who was it? I have discussed all about this in the detailed explanation in your test series. I have written everything. Okay, and embody in the Fairy Queen may. And let me tell you few things about it. Listen, the virtue was holiness. Okay, and as Red Cross Knight was representing the spiritual journey of the Christian soul. ओके, किसकी स्पिरिचुअल जर्नी? क्रिश्चियन सोल की स्पिरिचुअल जर्नी यहाँ पे जो है वो प्रेजेंट करी जाती है थ्रू द रेड क्रॉस नाइट. ओके, एडमंड स्पेंसर के बारे में बता दूं. एडमंड स्पेंसर वाज born in 1552 and was died in 1599. Okay, and after that his important work is the Fairy Queen, and the Fairy Queen actually loved by Elizabeth. I think that was a question in UGC net. Who loved Fairy Queen at most? Options were, there were many options, but the right among them was the Fairy Queen was loved by Elizabeth first. It means the queen of that time. Okay, now next question is, next we'll move on to the John Milton. Okay, remove this in and add the in before the question. In Paradise Lost, what central theme is conveyed through Satan's rebellion? What actually the story of Paradise Lost? It means a story of Adam and Eve, in which in the the Arabic language we say it, Adam alayhi salam and Mahwa. After that, Adam and Eve, the actual story talks about their their redemption. So talks about how they left the that's the place from there, and what was the role of the Satan as there. Satan means Shaitan. Okay, so the theme of obedience and consequence of free will was there. Okay, it means they want to get free from there. And Paradise Lost, if I talk about Satan's rebellion, was an act of pride. Okay, you only have to remember Satan को बहुत अपने आप पे गर्व था, अपने आप पे फख्र था, एंड दैट गर्व और फख्र उसकी वजह से इसको सैटर्न को बहुत लॉस हुआ. Okay, and after that, if because through the Arabic point of view, through the Islamic point of view, if I say you, God has given an instruction to Satan to go before a man, but Satan did not, and that Satan did not because Satan thought, oh my God, I could do anything because I'm Satan. It means I'm superior to human being. So if I don't bow to human being, if I bow to human, sorry, it means that's going to hurt my ego. Okay, so that ego became a problem of his, you know, because of problem of uh, his reputation before the public, his reputation before the people started disliking him. Okay, in this story as well, the role of Saturn was there, and actually after that, Saturn's rebellion as an act of pride, leading to the fall of man. Okay, now let me tell you one more thing about John Milton. John Milton was born in 1608, 1674. Okay, and after that, what I can tell you, Paradise Lost really was important, or Paradise Regain was also important. If you could take some time, please try to read it. Okay, after that, John Donne is there. John Donne. What actually we could do in the John Donne? The movement through which the John Milton was associated, that was Puritan movement. Okay, that's why the age is also known as Puritan era, and John and Milton era was also the name of this age. And if I remember a very important line from a holy sonnets, that was death be not proud. मौत कभी गर्व में मरता, कभी फख्र में मरता. Death be not proud. Rome challenges the power of death. Okay, power of death and the eternal life through not any other religious point of view, but through the Christian point of view. Okay, they were focusing on the eternal thought through the Christian point of view. Okay, now we will move on to our next question. Question number 50 is Andrew from the Andrew Marvel. In yeah, I think that was an issue in editing. Uh, in to his coy mistress, what argument does the speaker use to persuade his beloved? What is the meaning of beloved here? Listen, beloved is actually somebody to whom we love. Mehbooba. Okay, and Andrew Marvell, uh, the work to his coy business was actually written in Copdim. Now, what's the meaning of Copdim here? Copdim is when a speaker urges his beloved to seize the moment, because actually, for example, if a speaker is there, okay, and he want others to feel that moment that somehow belongs to your Copdim. Okay, and in this work, Andrew Marvell is urging that his beloved, so that she could seize the moment, she could cover that time, and because time always don't wait for anybody, so she could seize the time. Okay, after that, what else you could understand about Andrew Marvell? He was born in 1621 and died on the in 1678. Okay, he was a metaphysical poet, he was a cavalier poet, or as well as he was a politician. If somebody don't know about his politics works, so he or she at least once must Google. Okay, that what was the role of Andrew Marvell in politics? We have Alexander Pope, which of the Pope's poem is a mock epic based on real life incident in the high society? Which was it? Listen, let me give you first the story of this work. Somebody is there, you sit, you sleep there, and after you were sleeping, somebody comes to you and cut your hair, and after that you say, oh my god, it means that it means that people are not like people are not merciful, people are not good here. It means that I'm raising the question our high society, and which actually is a work. Now I think you could guess. Yeah, the work was Repo Flag. Few minutes ago I asked you a question, the answer of the question is this. Okay, okay, though after that Alexander Pope was born in 1688 and was born in sorry died in 1744. Okay, he wrote many works. Essay on criticism is there, essay on men is there, and the Rape of Luck, one of the most important work from his poems. Okay, after that we have John Dryden is there, and John Dryden actually, John Dryden was born 1631. I don't remember the exactly. If somebody remembers, do correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, 1631 to 1701 or 1700, I think. Okay, 1700 we will go with. Okay, so the question is asking which poem by Dryden celebrates the restoration of Charles II. Okay, for example, your a PM is there. For example, if our PM Shri Narendra Modi, if he takes oath as third time, and the people who love him, for example, we would celebrate. So if we are celebrating his success, and we say something, we say a song, to present to praise his worthiness to come in power for the third consecutive times. So that actually is somehow related to Dryden's celebration, Dryden's work which celebrates the restoration of Charles II, and why Charles II was restored, and what actually was restored at that time as well, and what was closed. If you remember, a very important topic, 1672, dramas were closed, theaters were closed. Okay, at the time the work of theater was not there, and for the very short span of time, there was a confusion between uh, those who like Charles II and who like another one. Now, who was that? You will let me know in the comment section. Okay, and this actually happens that the name of this poem, first of all, let me tell you, Annus Mirabilis, Annus Mirabilis. Okay, and it celebrates the restoration of Charles II, and it reflects on the resilience of England after what? After the Great Fire and War. Okay, वहाँ पे बहुत ज़्यादा फायर हुई एंड वार हुई, और उसके कुछ समय के बाद जो है वो restoration of Charles II हुआ, and after that everything was open, like dramas were there also. And इतना मैं आपको clue दे दूँ that the person who was not interested in the power of in the in the reign of in the rule of Charles II was a kind of person who did not even like dramas and all these things. Okay, now actually, John Dryden, if I tell one more thing about John Dryden, is that he was the England's first poet laureate. ओके, देश का, इंग्लैंड के देश का पहला पोएट लॉरिएट जो है वो वही था. ओके, एंड ये जो एज है, तो एज का दूसरा नाम है एज ऑफ रेस्टोरेशन. यू आर मच अवेयर दैट क्यों रेस्टोरेशन था, बिकॉज चार्ल्स सेकंड का रेस्टोरेशन यहाँ पे हुआ था. विलियम वुड्सवर्थ की अगर मैं बात करूँ, विलियम वुड्सवर्थ से कौन है वाकिफ नहीं है. ओके, एवरीबडी नोज अबाउट विलियम वुड्सवर्थ. तो इसका जो जन्म हुआ था वो था 1700 में, और डेथ हो गई थी 1850 में. Okay, and if I tell you a few more things about Shakespeare, that's your William Wordsworth. William Wordsworth was a person uh, who dedicated his life to romantic literature, because he was the only person who started the romantic literature. If you remember the name of H.T. Coleridge, Samuel Taylor Coleridge, Samuel Taylor Coleridge was in collaboration with William Wordsworth to start a work for, you know, that's called lyrical ballads, so that he could, start the age of romanticism in English literature. Okay, I think there is a poem in class 10th that is written by William Wordsworth. I think if you could have time, do remember that, because questions in interview will for the sure be asked. If they ask you regarding syllabus, they may ask you something uh, that's near to class 10th, 11th, and 12th. Okay, so if you could have time, you could take time. Do remember, uh, don't forget to read that one as well. Okay, after that. Okay, let's discuss the question of this. Which poem opens with "I wandered lonely as a cloud"? Well, actually, the poem which was started with these lines was Daffodils. Okay, so Daffodils was actually it was capturing the spiritual and emotional response to the poet, um, of the poet to nature, because they were interested in nature, and before their age, before the age of romanticism, a rule of industries and all these things was there, and these people thought industries का जो उरा है, जो दबदबा है, वो as of now बहुत बढ़ चुका है, and I think we should move on to another thing which people would like, and which people as of now are forgetting. And I think that William Wordsworth thought, I think that we should again try, so that people could celebrate these things. So they try to write on nature. Okay, and he was the person who started nature writing. It means he was the person who started the breeding of, that's called your romanticism. Okay, now we'll move on to your next, because I think we have discussed a lot of things here. Okay. वी हैव एस्टिकुलैरिज इज देयर, जिसको हम अभी पढ़ रहे थे, एस्टिकुलैरिज, सेम टेबल कुलैरिज. क्वेश्चन है कि विच सुपर नेचुरल नैरेटिव फॉर्म फीचर्स द किलिंग ऑफ एन एल्बैट्रस. ओके, चलो इसकी बात करते हैं. हु वाज सैमुअल टेलर कोलरिज? वाज बोर्न इन 1772 एंड वाज डाइड इन 1834. ओके, and in the poem in which the supernatural narrative form, that was the rhyme of, आगे तो आप लोग कर लोगे, नाम ऑफ एंशंट mariner. Okay, and poem explores guilt, punishment, redemption through a mariner's tale. Okay, like the tale of Chaucer, Fairy Queen. There was a person asking that Canterbury Tale is not their syllabus. Let me tell him that Chaucer was there. So it means if Chaucer is there, so all the works are important from the Chaucer point of view. So for sure, the work of Canterbury Tale will for sure be asked. Don't forget to read that one. And in the PB Shelley, I think yeah, we have forget to give you a clue of other questions. Listen, do you have any idea of the prelude? Okay, Tintern, Tinter, okay. Or at that time, what was the name of that place in which each and important writers was bride? ओके, डू वेस्टमिंस्टर अभी was there. सो इसके साथ एसोसिएटेड है, तो उसको भी आप थोड़ा सा देख लेंगे. ओके, पीबी शैली की बात करें. पीबी शैली का अगर हम कोई इंपॉर्टेंट, The prelude and ancient mariner, क्या बोलते हैं उसको, Tintin Abbey was written by your William Wordsworth. Okay, but don't write here these. Okay, next is yeah. The poem written by S.T. Coleridge was Kubla Khan, I think. Kubla Khan was there, और उसके बाद Sibyl was there. ओके, उसके बाद पीबी शैली की बात करें तो पीबी शैली का एक इम्पोर्टेंट वर्क है, और वो इम्पोर्टेंट वर्क कौन सा है, तो वो इम्पोर्टेंट वर्क है एडोनिस है। उसके बाद एक इम्पोर्टेंट वर्क ही रोट ऑन द लाइफ ऑफ द डेथ ऑफ कीट्स। ओके, ओ टू द वेस्ट विंग इज आल्सो देयर, Prometheus Unborn, To a Skylark, many important poems are there. So he was interested in writing ode. So today's question is asking which poem ends with a line, "If winter comes, can spring be far behind?" I think this was asked for 2 or more times in AGSNet PYQ. If you can have any PDF of PYQ, do search this. You will be surprised to know that 2 or 3 times this question had came. Okay, had come. Okay. After that, PB Shelley was born in 1792 to 1822, and the poem in which this line was at the last was "Ode to the West Wind." Okay, "Ode to the West Wind," and what else we can know? Okay, I told you everything about that. Lord Byron. What actually Lord Byron? Lord Byron was the full name of the Lord Byron was George. Okay, George Gordon Byron was born in 1788 and was died in 1824. Okay, yeah, lecture is getting recorded. Okay, so he was a type of romantic poet, and really a person who tried to capture the daily life image, and which is a central character in Byron's satirical epic Dun John. So Dun John में important character कौन था, तो important character ही आपका कौन था, Dun John था. ओके, सेंट्रल कैरेक्टर था. तो बैरन का सैटारिकल पोम रीइमेजिन्स द लेजेंडरी लवर. वो उसको एज नॉट इन एक्टिवली कैरेक्टर, बट उसको पैसिवली देखता था वो, एंड ही वाज कॉट इन ह्यूमरस मिस एडवेंचर्स, एंड हिज इंपॉर्टेंट वर्क्स वर डंजॉन, आई आर टॉक्ड अबाउट, एंड ये डंजॉन है, एंड आफ्टर दैट चाइल्ड्स हेरोल्ड्स पेलग्रिमेज, एंड आई थिंक शी वॉक्स इन ब्यूटी, या शी वॉक्स इन ब्यूटी था, यस. ओके, आप स्पेलिंग देख लेना, यू आर अ लिटरेचर स्टूडेंट, हाउ कैन आई से दैट I'll write with the full spelling and you to memorize. Okay, after the John Keats, a person to whom everybody loves. I, I'm I'm not sure that if you are a student of literature and you don't love John Keats, those who are interested in poetry of John Elia, um, and they don't want to study John Elia because few things from the John Elia perspective, if you cannot understand, I think as a part of English literature student, you should at least for a moment of time, if you want to study all these things which are written by John Elia and or in Urdu and you can't read all these, I think you should directly move on to the John Keats. Somehow resembles the same, John Keats and John Elia, because the poetry of both the writers was romantic. Okay, okay. तो जॉन किट्स की कौन सी ओड है विच इंक्लूड्स द लाइन ह्यूज मेलोडीज आर स्वीट बट दोस अनहियर्ड आर स्वीट. जो सुनी गई हैं वो तो बहुत मीठी मेलोडीज हैं, लेकिन जो सुनी नहीं है वो उनसे भी मीठी है. क्लियर? ओके, सो जॉन किट्स कब पैदा हुए? बहुत कम एज में मर गए थे बिकॉज ऑफ ट्यूबरक्लोसिस, 1795 टू 1821 में, एंड 26 और 25 एग्जैक्ट इसका वो नहीं है, डॉक्यूमेंटली उसका पता नहीं है कितना साल, बट काफ़ी लोग कहते हैं 22, काफ़ी लोग बोलेंगे, मैनी ऑफ यू विल से 25 एंड मैनी ऑफ यू विल से 26. ओके, सो the the poem in which these lines are there, that was ode on a Grecian urn. Okay, Grecian urn, and this poem actually contemplates the art's timelessness with the line. Okay, so the next we have is Alfred Lord Tennyson. Which poem features the character of a cursed woman who waves in isolation. Okay, assume for example somebody is there and waving to you in isolation and is very cursed, किसी की बदुआ लगी हुई है उसको. Okay, and एक आइसोलेशन है, वो वेव कर रही है. क्या होगा वो? देखो यार, अगर इस वर्क की बात करें, द नेम ऑफ द वर्क वाज द लेडी ऑफ शैलाट. ओके, एक टेल थी आर्टिस्टिक आइसोलेशन की. और ये एक्चुअल में ये चाहती थी कि रियल लाइफ, रियल वर्ल्ड का जो एक्सपीरियंस है वो हर इंसान को हो सके, कि कस्ट लोगों की हालत क्या होती है, एक जुदा हो जाते हैं दूसरों से, और एक जब किसी को बददुआ लग जाती है उनकी कंडीशन क्या होती है. And Alfred Tennyson was born in 1809, which I read in master's second, semester. Um, okay. After that, 1892 में उसकी डेथ होगी, मृत्यु हो गई. एंड उसके बाद उसके इम्पोर्टेंट वर्क अगर आपको याद हो, इन मेमोरियम और ए डबल एच. ओके, ए एच. उसके बाद उलिसिस एंड इडलेस ऑफ द किंग. ओके, यूलिसिस मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट है. यूलिसिस को कभी एक बार इसके समरी यूट्यूब से पढ़ लेना. आई नो रीडिंग तो कौन करेगा, बट समरी पढ़ लेना एक बार. ठीक है. After that, we have Matthew Arnold. Matthew Arnold को कौन बोल सकता है? A person who actually founded the criticism in this era, Victorian era. और criticism भी इस तरह की कि किसी भी पोएट को नहीं बख्शती थी. ओके, बिकॉज इनका criticism का लिहाज कुछ इस तरीके का था. Which poem by Arnold explores the decline of faith using a seascape? Seascape को यूज करके फेथ का डिक्लाइन हो जाना. ऐसी कौन सी पोम है जिसमें ही क्रिटिसाइज कर रहा है इसको? ओके, सो द नेम ऑफ द पोम इज डॉवर बीच. And poem actually mourns a loss of faith and certainty in the modern world, symbolized by the ebbing sea of faith. And मैथ्यू आर्नोल्ड जो कि पैदा हुआ था 1822 से, मर गया 1888 में, उसकी डेथ हो गई. ओके, और उसके बाद इम्पोर्टेंट वर्क जो मेरे माइंड में अभी रिकॉल हो रहे हैं, स्कॉलर जिप्सी वाज देयर. और स्कॉलर जिप्सी के अलावा और कौन सा इंपॉर्टेंट वर्क हो सकता है? हिंथ्रेसिस वाज देयर. और भी अगर कोई इंपॉर्टेंट वर्क हो आप मुझे कमेंट सेक्शन में बता देंगे. ठीक है, 1 सेकेंड, पीछे कोई छूट तो नहीं गया? ओके, ठीक है. नेक्स्ट इज रॉबर्ट ब्राउनिंग. रॉबर्ट ब्राउनिंग की अगर मैं बात करूं, इसका एक इम्पोर्टेंट वर्क है माई लास्ट टचेस. और माई लास्ट टचेस, डोंट फॉरगेट to at least listen a detailed lecture of it. Okay, from YouTube you can pick, from any YouTube channel. और पढ़ाई में तो किसी किस्म की वो नहीं होनी चाहिए क्रिटिसिज्म. यहाँ से मिलता है पढ़ो, बट ये लॉस्ट स्टेज पढ़ना ही पढ़ना. इसकी समरी पढ़ लेने कहीं से. कुछ ड्रामेटिक मोनोलॉग इज स्पोकन बाय अ ड्यूक, जो कि रिवील कर रहा था अपनी ही लेट वाइफ की कहानी. ऐसा ड्रामेटिक मोनोलॉग क्या था? ड्रामेटिक मोनोलॉग क्या होता है पता है? लास्ट लेक्चर में आपको बताया था. ड्रामेटिक मोनोलॉग इज जब आप स्टेज पे कुछ परफॉर्म कर रहे हो, और स्टेज से इफ somebody is learning that performance, somebody is listening that performance, तो ताकि उसको ये ना लगे कि वो कोई परफॉर्मेंस देख रहे हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल, इफ यू सी एज ऑफ नाउ Sayara Varis is there, so everybody is like feeling the Sayara Varis in its you know in its real tone. Okay, so don't do that now. Just take it as a movie. So they dramatic monologue, actually the people who are associated with dramatic monologue, they want the readers to consider this as a part of film only, as a part of drama only. Don't take this seriously. Okay, so dramatic monologue is spoken by a duke revealing the story of his late wife, and the answer of this, answer of this same was the last lecture there. Okay, यही थी वो poem. उसके बाद रॉबर्ट ब्राउनिंग की बात करें, रॉबर्ट ब्राउनिंग पैदा होते हैं 1812 से और 1889 से. अभी लास्ट में जो हमने बात करी जिसकी, वो 1882 में, और ये 1889 में. ठीक है, चलो. उसके बाद इम्पोर्टेंट वर्क इसमें आ सकते हैं. माई लास्ट टचेस हो गया, एंड द रिंग एंड द बुक, दिस आल्सो इज एन इम्पोर्टेंट वर्क. ओके, उसके बाद है विलियम बटलर येट्स. Okay, let's study about it. William Butler Yeats, I think, is there in class 10 syllabus as well. Okay, W.B. Yeats, The Second Coming, most important work is The Second Coming. or I think the answer of the same question will also be second one. Things fall apart, the center cannot hold. Okay, तो कौन सी poem है in which is featuring the phrase, so that the name of the poem is The Second Coming. Okay, so W.B. Yeats was actually a person of Irish poet and a dramatist, and he received Nobel Prize in Literature as well. And if you had learned about Abbey Theatre, तो Abbey Theatre को फाउंड करने वाला एक W.B. Yeats भी था. ओके, एंड इसकी डेट ऑफ बर्थ की बात करें, द ईयर ऑफ बर्थ वाज 1865 एंड ईयर ऑफ डेथ वाज 1939. जब वार जो है वो सेकेंड वर्ल्ड वार शुरू हुई, उसकी भी डेथ होगी. ऐसे कुछ करके आप रिलेट करके याद कर सकते हो. इसके इंपॉर्टेंट वर्क किसको नहीं आते होंगे? इसके इंपॉर्टेंट वर्क की अगर मैं बात करूँ, सेकंड कमिंग तो चलो है, हो गया. और उसके अलावा हमारे पास ईस्टर है. ओके, हमारे पास द टावर है, और हमारे पास सेलिंग टू बाइजेंटियम है. ओके 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 ओके, नाउ टी एस इलियट इज देयर. टी एस इलियट की पोम, कौन सी पोम है जो टी एस इलियट की शुरू होती है? अप्रैल इज द क्रूलेस्ट मंथ. बताओ जी. सो द पोम विच स्टार्ट विद द अप्रैल इज द क्रूलेस्ट मंथ. नेम ऑफ द पोम इज द वेस्ट वेस्टलैंड. और टी एस इलियट वाज born in 1888 and was died in 1965. इंपॉर्टेंट वर्क कौन सा है? लव सॉन्ग ऑफ जे एल्फ्रेड. वन सेकेंड. लव सॉन्ग ऑफ जे एल्फ्रेड. ओके, और फोर क्वार्टर्स भी इसका एक इंपॉर्टेंट वर्क है. टेड ह्यू की बात करें, ये ह्यूग्स नहीं है, बहुत लोग इसको गलत प्रोनाउंस करते हैं, बट इट्स ह्यू. इट इज स्टिल अ पार्ट ऑफ, इट इज आल्सो अ पार्ट ऑफ क्लास 10 जेके बोस बुक. ओके, विच ह्यूज पोएम इज सेंटर्ड अराउंड द प्रीडेटरी बर्ड एंड ब्रूट इंस्टिंक्ट. कौन सा ऐसा वर्क था टेड ह्यू का? तो द नेम ऑफ द द वर्क वाज हॉक हॉक रोस्टिंग. Okay, hawk roasting was there. It symbolizes the power and natural brutality. Okay, it was, like you might have seen the hawk. How brutal is it? Okay, and how it's, it is interested in picking up insects and all these things. Okay, so all these things which are important. So the perspective of hawk are given in this poem. Next we have is, okay, I think we are done with poems here. Now we are starting with the dramas. We have very few questions drama. I think for 4 to 5 questions will be there, or 8 to 9 questions will be there, or 10 to 13 questions will be there from drama. So let's see how many questions are there. First question is, in Dr. Faustus, what does Faustus sell in exchange for power? इस क्वेश्चन को डिटेल में पढ़ने की जरूरत ही नहीं है. नॉलेज, सॉरी, टू गेट, सेल करता है किसके पावर में, ताकि वो ये कर सके, पावर इकट्ठा कर सके. तो the name of the work was, he actually wanted to sell knowledge. Okay, okay, to get knowledge, he actually has sold his soul. Okay, so that वो knowledge gain कर सके, उसने अपनी soul ही किसी को sell कर दी थी. ठीक है, exchange of power as well, और exchange of knowledge. और पता है कौन सी, कितने सालों के लिए? तो he sold it for 24 years. Okay, and this work symbolizes the human overreach, and एक किस्म का क्या बोलते हैं उसको, like somebody has, किसी की लालच टाइप. ओके, नॉलेज और पावर को गेन करने के चक्कर में somebody is selling his or her soul, तो वो क्या चीज़ हो सकती है देन. उसके बाद अगर हम क्रिस्टोफर मार्लोव की बात करें, क्रिस्टोफर मार्लोव वाज बर्न इन 1564, 21 साल जब शेक्सपियर पैदा हुआ था. एंड मेनी पीपल स्टिल बिलीव दैट शेक्सपियर कुछ नहीं था, बट इट वाज द कॉपी ऑफ, इट वाज नॉट कॉपी, बट इट वाज एक्चुअली क्रिस्टोफर मार्लोव. एंड व्हेन क्रिस्टोफर मार्लोव बिकेम फेमस, नो सॉरी, शेक्सपियर बिकेम फेमस, तो शेक्सपियर ने काम छोड़ दिया. आफ्टर दैट शेक्सपियर ने एक नया रूप ले लिया, और द नेम ऑफ दैट रूप वाज, एक उस एक चेंजेस का नेम था क्रिस्टोफर मार्लोव. बट इट ऑल अबाउट, it's all mystery. Nobody has clear cut idea, but we have clear cut idea is that nobody can pass English literature exam without reading Shakespeare. Okay, so we don't know the reality of Shakespeare, but still people also believe that Shakespeare was a woman. नो आई डोंट नो व्हाट टू से दीस पीपल, बट ऐसा क्या है लोगों के थॉट्स में, वी डोंट नो, वी आर जस्ट द स्टूडेंट्स ऑफ लिटरेचर, वी जस्ट हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड द डीप कंसेप्ट ऑफ लिटरेचर। तो उसके हिसाब से जो हमें बुक में है तो वो है कि शेक्सपियर था, यानी कि स्टफर मार्लोव भी था, एंड बोथ ऑफ देम वर डिफरेंट टू वन अनदर। ओके, different to each other. Okay, Christopher Marlowe was an Elizabethan playwright, dramatist थे वो, and one important regarding to Christopher Marlowe was that he was writing in the blank verse. ओके, और उसके इंपॉर्टेंट वर्क डॉक्टर फास्टस हो गया, और टेम्बरलाइन हो गया, और एडवर्ड सेकंड इंपॉर्टेंट रहेगा, है ना, एडवर्ड सेकंड। विलियम शेक्सपियर, which play includes the character Prospero, a magician, and wrong duke। मतलब मैंने आपको अभी पीछे बता के आया हूँ, टेम्पेस्ट मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट वर्क है इसका, तो टेम्पेस्ट ही इसका आंसर है। प्रोस्पेरो एक मैजिशियन था, और वो एक ड्यूक था, और वो अपनी मैजिक यूज़ करता है ताकि वो इंसाफ दिला पाए, और वो फॉरगिवनेस वो प्रेजेंट करता है, और रिकॉन्सिलेशन प्रेजेंट करता है, ताकि उसको क्या हो कि एक किस्म का वो राहत मिल पाए। और एक मैजिशियन था, कौन, प्रॉस्पेरो। ओके, टेम्पेस्ट की क्लास 9th में लगती है ये स्टोरी। इफ़ यू आर स्टिल इंटरेस्टेड इन स्टडिंग दोज बुक्स, so I think you should at least for once refer to these class 9th and 10th books. After that, शेक्सपियर के बारे में आई डोंट वांट टू टेल यू फ्यू मोर थिंग्स, बट ओथेलो इज देयर। ओके, इंपॉर्टेंट वर्क में किंग लियर इज देयर, द टेम्पस इज देयर, वो तो हो गया ऊपर है। चलो जी, आफ्टर दैट विलियम कॉन्ग्रीव इज देयर। विलियम कॉन्ग्रीव की अगर मैं बात करूँ, इफ आई टॉक अबाउट विलियम कॉन्ग्रीव was born in 1670 and he was died in 1779। एंड विलियम कॉन्ग्रीव की बात करूँ, द वे ऑफ वर्ल्ड मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट है, लव फॉर लव, and he was writing in the restoration comedy, and he was interested in comedy of manners। और क्या क्या कहूँ इसके बारे में, अब क्वेश्चन करते हैं। इन द वे ऑफ द वर्ल्ड which pair features the provision scene। okay, so the pair was Mirabel and Millamant। ओके, मिराबल एंड मिलामिट, एंड या हो गया इसके बारे में। जॉन ड्राइडन की बात करें, जॉन ड्राइडन एक मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट था। अगर आपको एक वर्क याद हो, ऑल फॉर लव, अगर आपको वर्क याद हो, मैरिज वाला मोड, और उसके अलावा पोम में तो हमने इसके बारे में कुछ ऐसा पढ़ा नहीं है क्योंकि इतना इम्पोर्टेंट नहीं है, बट हाँ, इसके अलावा इसके जो प्लेस थे वो ऑलमोस्ट शेक्सपियर ट्रेजेडी पे बेस्ड थे। ओके, तो ये भी यहीं पे भी आई थिंक इस तरह का कुछ होगा। विच ऑफ ड्राइडन्स प्ले इज बेस्ड ऑन शेक्सपियर ट्रेजेडी एंड अडॉप्टेड विद अ हैप्पी एंडिंग, एंड हैप्पी एंडिंग इनकी होती होती है, तो वो कौन सा था, तो दैट वाज ऑल फॉर लव ही था। ओके, जॉन ड्राइडन की अगर मैं और कुछ बताऊँ आपको, तो 1631 में पैदा हुआ और 1700 में मर गया। ओके, जॉन ड्राइडन के बारे में भी हम पीछे पढ़ के भी आए हैं, और उसमें मैंने आपको बताया था कि शायद 1701 है, 1700 है, तो आप उसको एक बार चेक कर लेना। ओके, पीबी शैली, थ्रू द दैट्स कॉल्ड थ्रू द ड्रामेटिक पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू, विच क्लासिकल ट्रेजेडी डिड शैली रेट, एंड किसके बारे में उसने लिखे थे, प्रोमिथस। तो वो लिखे थे किसके बारे में उसने, इट वाज एक्चुअली अ लिरिकल ड्रामा, और द नेम ऑफ द दैट वर्क इज प्रोमिथस। प्रोमिथस अनबोर्न, पीछे हम पढ़ के भी आए हैं इसको। ओके, इसका नाम पढ़ के हैं पीछे हम। एंड शैली के बारे में और अगर कुछ मैं आपको बता दूं, तो शैली ने जो ये वर्क लिखा था, ये डिफाइज करता है जुपिटर, और इसकी जो सिंबलिज्म है वो आइडियलिज्म से रिलेटेड है, और लिबरेशन से और फ्रीडम से, इनसे रिलेटेड है। ऑस्कर वाइल्ड की बात करूँ, ऑस्कर वाइल्ड को यहाँ पे आप ई लगा देना। इसके जो प्लेयर्स हैं वो स्टैर करते हैं विक्टोरियन की सोसाइटी को, और सेंटर्स करता है एक फैब्रिकेटेड आइडेंटिटी को। बताओ ऐसा कौन सा प्ले, द नेम ऑफ द प्ले इज द इम्पोर्टेंस ऑफ बीइंग ऑनेस्ट। Okay, the importance of being earnest, or in this form, actually, the Oscar Wilde was trying to satire the Victorian values, because these values were, using mistaken identities and witty dialogues. Okay. After that, we have GB Shah is there, George Bernard Shaw. If I think there's Arms and Men, most important इसका work है, और which Shaw play, Shaw's play, ऐसा कौन सा Shaw का play critics the romanticizing of war through the character रहना, The name of the work was Arms and the Men. And Jibisha was born in 1856. Was born in 1950. Was died in 1950. Okay. After that, his important works were Man and Superman. And okay, nothing. Next is Henrik Ibsen. Henrik Ibsen, which plays ends with the Nora slamming the door as she leaves her family. Okay, so the name of the work, simply आपको बताता हूँ, name of the work was Adolphus. और हेनरिक इब्सन कब पैदा हुए? हेनरिक इब्सन was born in 1828. He was died in 1906. Okay, okay. I don't want to ask a question, otherwise I would ask that which party was formed in 1906. So the modern history of India point of view. After that, Anton Chekhov is there. ये जो क्वेश्चन, ये जो चीज़ें मैं यहाँ पे करा रहा हूँ ना, all these things are clearly and in depth written in your test series explanation. Okay, at last I'll talk about that as well, don't worry. Anton Chekhov's play depicts the decline of Russian aristocracy and centers around a salt state. बताओ ऐसे कौन सा वर्क था? So Anton Chekhov की अगर मैं बात करूँ, was born in 1860, was died in 1904. Okay, and after that, अगर मैं इसके important work की बात करूँ, जहाँ तक मुझे याद है, सीगुल और ऐसा कौन सा प्ले था जो डेपिक्ट करता है रशियन एरिस्टोक्रेसी के डिक्लाइन को? आई थिंक द नेम ऑफ द प्ले वाज द चेरी ऑर्किड. या करेक्ट कॉल इट द चेरी ऑर्किड. ओके, जो प्लेज है ना, इनको आप लिख लेंगे, टू राइट ऑल दिस थिंग्स, सो टू मेमोराइज, टू रिवाइज ऑल दिस थिंग्स इन योर फॉर योर एग्जाम. ओके, आफ्टर दैट वी हैव इज Eugene O'Neill. Eugene O'Neill की अगर मैं बात करूँ, the important work of Eugene O'Neill are the Iceman Comet and the Morning Becomes Electra and the Long Day's Journey into Night. Okay, and he was born in 1888. Somebody was died in 1888. आप लेक्चर को पास करके देखना है कि वो कौन सा था, ताकि आपको याद आ जाए. इन 1953 में जो है इसकी डेथ हो जाती है. ऑटोबायोग्राफी फीचर कौन सा था जो टैरोन की फैमिली स्ट्रगलिंग विद एडिक्शन को जो है वो फीचर कर रहा है? द नेम ऑफ द वर्क इटसेल्फ वाज लॉन्ग नॉट ए जर्नी इनटू नाइट. ओके, सो दिस इज द लास्ट स्लाइड, डोंट वरी. सैमुअल बैकेट की बात करें, सैमुअल बैकेट मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट है अब्सर्ड प्लेस वगैरह के लिए. ऐसा कौन सा अब्सर्ड प्ले था जहाँ पे दो कैरेक्टर्स वेट करते हैं एंडलेसली किसी का, जो कि कभी नहीं आता? ओके, सो द वेटिंग फॉर गॉडॉट. ऐसा प्ले था जिसमें दो लोग हैं, वेट कर रहे हैं किसी का, लेकिन उस वेट का कोई एंड नहीं है, और वो जिसका वेट कर रहे हैं वो कभी नहीं आता. ओके, है ना इंटरेस्टिंग वाली बात. और 1906 से 1989 तक जो है वो इसकी लाइफ स्पेन रहा है. एंड आफ्टर दैट ही वाज इंटरेस्टेड इन राइटिंग अब्सर्ड प्लेज. व्हाट्स मीनिंग ऑफ अब्सर्ड प्ले? अब्सर्ड प्ले वो प्लेज होते हैं इन विच देयर इज नो कंक्लूजन. ओके, कोई उनका हाल, कोई कंक्लूजन नहीं होता, बट एवरीथिंग इज एज इट इज. आफ्टर दैट सेम शेपर्ड वी हैव. सेम शेपर्ड का कौन सा प्ले एक्सप्लोर करता है? डिसइंटीग्रेटिंग फैमिली एंड अ डिकेइंग अमेरिकन ड्रीम. बताओ, द नेम ऑफ द प्ले वाज ब्राइट चाइल्ड. ओके, सेम शेपर्ड के बारे में इफ आई टेल यू मोर थिंग, इंपॉर्टेंट उतना नहीं है, बट हाँ पढ़ लो एक बार. 1943 से 2017 तक. ओके, एंड इंपॉर्टेंट वर्क्स आर ब्राइट चाइल्ड, ट्रू वेस्ट, क्लोज ऑफ द स्टार्विंग क्लास. एंड आफ्टर दैट टॉम स्टपर्ट की बात करें, विच पोस्ट मॉडर्न प्ले री इमेजिन्स हेमलेट फ्रॉम द पर्सपेक्टिव ऑफ टू माइनर कैरेक्टर्स. तो दो माइनर कैरेक्टर्स के द्वारा ऐसा कौन सा पोस्ट मॉडर्न प्ले है जो हेमलेट को री इमेजिन करता है? हु वाज हेमलेट? शेक्सपियर का हेमलेट. या यस यस, शेक्सपियर का हेमलेट. और द नेम ऑफ द प्ले एक्चुअली वाज, लेट मी राइट हियर, लेट मी रेज, द रोजिन क्रांट्स एंड गिल्डन स्टर्ड आर डेड. ओके, ये उसके नाम का प्ले का नाम था. एंड द टॉम स्टपर्ट वाज बर्न का एक्चुअल में कोई आइडिया नहीं है, बट हाँ, ही वॉज बर्न इन 1937 और डेथ अभी तक इसकी नहीं हुई है. ओके. So after that, let us move to the next question. Okay, these were all the questions. Now listen one more important thing. If you want detailed explanation of all these questions, all this type of questions, all these writers, all these playwrights, all these poets, don't forget to take this test series, which is an important one. Okay, test series costs very less. It around cost 200 or 250 it would be. Okay, but still if you use, I think the actual cost of this is 500 or something. If you use Zafar 60, you will get 60% that's called discount on it, and you simply can buy. I think many students are there and they are purchasing this test series and they are learning through test series. Don't take these type of lectures in which, because you are an MA na, you are an MA, you are still a type of person who has that type of knowledge of literature, so there's no need to study all these things through different video lectures. Okay, उनकी इतनी importance नहीं है, but yeah, if you want something in which description may everything can be written or full description can be helpful for you, don't forget to take this test series. Okay, so this is, I'm framing myself and I'm giving the test series in the approximately, if you use my code, that 60% of 500 becomes 300 and 300 becomes off. तो 300 अगर ऑफ है तो आपको मिलेगा ये एग्जैक्ट 200 रुपये में, या शायद अगर 50% वाला कोड रन करा तो डोंट, आप सिंपली यू विल राइट टॉप 50 and will get the 50% code on it, and after that it will be up to 150 and around this only. Okay, so thank you so much for watching the lecture. If you really have any type of confusion, don't forget to ask me in the comment section, and my Instagram ID is there. um, that was English with Zafar. Okay, so don't forget to message me there if you have any type of queries. Thank you so much.